Welcome back to Tailosive Movie Reviews. Today we're talking Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Far From Homecoming.
Far From Home.
Just home.
Just home.
Do they have to incorporate home into
I
the
feel
name?
like that's going to be a theme, yeah.
What's the third one gonna be? Homesick.
Maybe?
I don't know. Anyways.
Prison's my new home.
Yeah. Now he's been arrested because Mysterio... Oh, we won't start out with the spoilers.
Yeah,
Let's talk just about the movie as a whole, and then later
the movie
we can...
is... It's so much fun.
Good.
It's so much fun.
So you enjoyed it?
I loved it.
Okay, what did you like? Let's start out with the positive.
Okay. Tom Holland is great. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's been a consistently good Spider-Man so far.
Very much.
And
And is now like the most on-screen cinematic Spider-Man we've had. Like,
that's actually a good point.
think
about that.
We had Civil War, his first one.
Yep.
Homecoming.
Yep.
And then
Infinity War,
Infinity War,
Endgame. Yeah. Oh,
Endgame.
wow. He's got more street cred than Tobey Maguire now. Wow.
he does. Yeah.
That's
and then
cool.
with Far From Home, this is his fifth? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a full-fledged Spider-Man movie, but
Obviously, yeah. I mean,
Far From Home is, but-
appearances.
yeah, he made appearances. I assume they shot Infinity War and Endgame probably
Really
right
close,
back
yeah.
to back. But yeah, so yeah, fifth installment.
I liked a lot of the visuals that were going on with Mysterio, especially with Mysterio, just because
Definitely.
it was clearly fake, but it was like a fake that was supposed to mess with your head.
Right,
And
right.
that's what I appreciated about it, because I barely read any comics with Mysterio in them, but from what little I saw of him like in the video games, it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was that kind of character who was really trying to screw with your brain. Like
Right,
that. I'm
right.
like, yes.
They took CG. It kind of reminded me of Doctor Strange in a lot of ways when he gets put in his place by the by the teacher, and he's like all these trippy, warpy visuals. It reminded me of that, but in a different approach.
Yeah, exactly.
It was still finding a way to make itself refreshing and nice. And I want to speak on something a little bit broader than just Far From Home. I said the movie was... I'll say the movie was good. I enjoyed it. Like any movie, there were some little problems I had with it.
Right.
But it wasn't major. I still enjoyed it. I laughed. There were plenty of entertaining parts. There were plenty of parts I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. But ultimately, this shouldn't work.
Yeah.
If you consider... I just watched Endgame again yesterday.
Yeah.
The fact that we had such incredible build-up to that Infinity War and Endgame, all these Marvel films leading up to that, and Marvel is still...
They're still making stuff. It's like, why?
Yeah.
What's-
This is bigger than just another Spider-Man movie. This is the first MCU solo film after the snap, after
and it's-
Endgame.
And it seems to be implied they're kind of like trying to pass the torch on to new people, basically.
Right. And they're still able to keep this going.
yeah.
Like, I feel like a common theme with a lot of Marvel films for me is that they're almost going too far. I almost feel like, we're about to get tired of this. We're about to get fatigued. But then they released 5 more movies and we're still hanging
It's
on.
like someone jams a shot of adrenaline, like the size of your fist, right in the neck, and it's like, go!
You'd think, like, after Thanos, there's no way you could have any kind of compelling or interesting characters or
Right.
villains to challenge our heroes anymore. And they keep finding a way to pull it off.
Yeah.
Like, the movie, as it's just as a film separated from the whole universe, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty enjoyable. That was one of the better, if not one of the best Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
Excluding Spider-Verse, I feel like that should be in its
No,
own.
yeah, Spider-Verse is definitely top tier,
Yeah.
top shelf booze quality.
Sure.
But as a movie, it's a very well done movie.
Yeah, it's still comparable after any logical mind. If you hadn't seen the films and you were just looking at the MCU from an external viewpoint, you would say like,
Yeah.
oh, they're going to get sick of these characters by now.
Yeah.
Like, they've been using these same formulas and the same Marvel approach to making movies for so
Right.
long. There's no way that like this many years later you could still make a movie interesting and compelling. And they do.
They really do.
It's like, I think people take it for granted because when you watch the film, it's not groundbreaking, mind-blowing.
But it's a foundation that they're getting ahead of,
Right.
getting on. Like, I was even thinking about this. Like, I was thinking about it in the middle of Endgame. I was like, this can't be the end, obviously.
Right, right.
Endgame.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was just watching it, like, at the end there when, I mean, we already kind of have that passing on and kind of establishing a future franchise kind of thing.
Right.
Because
we keep going.
We have obviously we have our new Tony, or what we're supposed to have as our new Tony, Spider-Man. And at the end of Endgame, freaking Cap's just like, hey, here, I found this.
Yeah.
Gives it to Sam, and he's like, feels like someone else's. It's not.
Right.
So we're getting another Captain America so freaking fast. It's
yeah.
like, whoa.
Literal passing of the shield.
Exactly.
That'll be their new expression for
yeah.
once there's another giant Avengers trilogy, quadrilogy, and then passes that on.
Oh God.
It makes you wonder though, like Endgame in a lot of ways did feel like a closure. It feel
really
like
did.
the end of a chapter.
I remember like in the immediate like lead up and kind of aftermath of Endgame, at least on Twitter, there were some people asking like, all right, after Endgame, are you going to continue to watch the Marvel movies? And I've seen one person be like, probably not.
Yeah, you don't need to.
You don't need to. There's no reason to.
Right.
But if you keep going, it's clear they're trying to establish more stuff there.
Right.
And I think that's really exciting.
It was, and this is the first example for the MCU of like we can keep going after a giant cataclysmic kind of event.
Exactly.
And it'll still remain personal and interesting. That was partly the very refreshing thing about a lot of Far From Home is the intimate scenes where it's basically just Peter trying to
deal with everything.
Yeah, he has this world responsibility because, like Samuel Jackson said, he's like Nick Fury said, you know, like you've been to space, you're an Avenger, you know, you've done all these amazing things, you got to keep protecting the Earth.
Exactly.
And he's just like, I want to talk to MJ about how I feel, you know, and that's the classic Spider-Man dilemma, right?
It really is. They never say the great power and great responsibility thing in these movies.
They shouldn't.
They really shouldn't. We understand. We get the moral, but
right.
It's very cool that they're really trying to bring out that fundamental aspect of his character, just being like, hey, I am literally just a kid.
Right.
Why are you shouldering me with this?
Yeah.
It's like, because Tony thought so, and it's like, dang. Can we talk for a moment about how they still, like, do you think they had to ask Robert Downey Jr., can we plaster your face on about 50,000 different things? Or you think he's like, dude, go for it.
I felt like Tony...
He's like, I'm basically Jesus now.
Yeah, he is Jesus to Earth. Like you see, like in classrooms, they're painting pictures of Iron Man, and there's murals of him everywhere.
Yeah.
Even though, like, before he sacrificed himself for the universe, he was kind of considered just like a jerk billionaire.
Yeah.
Now he's like...
Suddenly he's... Yeah.
Which, I mean, understandably...
They're gonna make a statue behind that giant Jesus statue in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be
Man.
Jesus doing this, Iron Man being like...
Yeah. Doing some kind of pose.
Please, no gang signs.
But if you... Yeah, exactly. If you remember from Homecoming, he was a very major part of that.
He was an extremely major part of that.
He's still a very major part of this movie, even though he's not in it. It feels like he is because so much of his
One thing you said that I really liked when we were like just immediately after it was when we were watching this, we were like, oh, you know, we never realized how Happy is kind of becoming. He's coming back as a character. Like he was definitely around in like the first, I think. Yeah, like I think
the first couple
in
Iron
the first
Man movies.
3 Iron Man movies and everything.
Yeah,
the only 3 Iron Man movies.
But it was mostly cameo. Yeah,
but it wasn't like it wasn't in the same capacity as it was here, because now he's gone from like just kind of a fuddy-duddy sidekick
right.
to like this kind of sage-like character who's gonna dole out some wisdom for Peter when he needs it. Just be like, hey man, Tony didn't know what the hell he was doing either.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Tony couldn't live up to Tony.
Yeah,
that was a weird line.
It was it was really refreshing seeing that.
I liked seeing him, Jon Favreau,
Yeah.
be a character
That
because
part too.
in the past it was always just a cameo, just like a, you know, I'm the director, so I put myself in this movie.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's like, oh no, he's coming back and he actually has things.
They
to
actually
do.
want him there now.
Yeah, he's interested in Aunt May and
who is Toit.
Yeah. What is it with there's a running theme in this movie with women getting with men way not in their league.
There really is.
Ned's girlfriend.
Yeah, Betty Brant.
And I'm like, what? I don't know. That it didn't seem realistic to me.
I just remember talking to my fiance after we watched the movie, and like, I was just like, is it weird to say Aunt May looks really nice? Because every time I think to myself, Aunt May's pretty, my brain just goes back to like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, where she was so frail. I'm like, ah,
right.
Yeah. And I'm like, Marissa Tomei, stop it.
It's just, you're right. It doesn't feel natural to say like.
I mean, I think it makes sense that she's so much younger, because I always kind of wonder, I was like, so how old exactly were Peter's parents?
Well, I think it's also from the fact that they have now built this successful cinematic universe, and they've made movies with, Iron Man for like 10 years. Now they're like, okay, we're going to keep going. Let's get the youngest people we can get, because they're probably going to make freaking 9 Spider-Man movies. So by the end of this era of Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
at least he'll be like 35.
Yeah, Aunt May will be, in her 70s.
Seriously.
That's how long they're going to keep going with this. As long as Tom Holland, like, irresponsibly signs a contract for, they're going to be like, hey, Tom, you love being a Marvel hero, right? He's like, oh yeah, man, it's great, I love it. And they're like, okay, 30-year contract, here you go. Just sign it, and you're like, okay, you have to be Spider-Man for the next 3 decades.
Seriously.
Yeah, that'll be.
Oh god.
I don't know the future, but I imagine something like that will happen.
I could see it. I could totally see that. All right, let's see what else is
we could get into spoilers.
I was gonna say, it's been long enough. We could probably get into spoilers now.
Okay.
Turn back now if you're not feeling that.
If you're thinking about watching it, go watch it.
Even if you are thinking about watching it and you want to hear the spoilers, it's a good movie. You're gonna watch this regardless of spoilers.
Yes.
That's just my philosophy on things.
So the spoilers, which isn't even that huge because it's not very last minute.
Yeah.
Is that Mysterio is not who he seems. But
dun dun dun.
Yeah, right. If you're a comic book fan, you knew that.
Oh yeah.
And if you watch the first 10 minutes of the movie, you may pick up on that, because we did. We were watching Spider-Man fight these lava monsters. And we were thinking like, this is way too generic,
Yeah, exactly.
We're fighting Thanos one movie, and now we're moving into like, ooh, lava. Oh no, and
someone called Dwayne Johnson.
Right. 50 minutes into the movie, Mysterio's like, I'm gonna do what I should have done. I'm gonna do what I should have done all along.
Flies into the lava monster,
destroys it, and he's fine afterwards. And we're like,
he's got some minor burns.
You're like, this is way too simple.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is way too basic.
I know,
There's got to be more to it than we think, and there was, because Mysterio's a master of deception.
I just love how Jake Gyllenhaal, once the gloves are off and we know that he's a just terrible human being.
Yeah.
I just love how he I can only describe it as channels his inner James Cameron, and it's just like, come on, let's do this, people, and all that stuff.
He had a lot of good energy.
He had a lot of great energy.
When he was fake Mysterio, he was very stale as a character.
He was.
He wasn't a bad character. I mean, he was just intentionally trying to be good. But
it was like, all right, he's just trying to be a buddy.
I'm your friend.
Yeah.
If you ever need to talk about girls. He didn't say that.
It kind of seemed like that one camp counselor that everyone sees in like those horrible teen movies.
Who's way too friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I always kind of looked at him weird on screen. I was like,
But then as soon as
something's up with that guy.
Yeah, and as soon as the gloves were off, it's just like, that's where I think it really kicks into high gear, and it's actually a really great character.
And I find it funny that maybe in a different situation, if the movie was executed differently, I would have been very annoyed that it turns out it's not alternate dimensions, it's not alternate monsters, it's actually just guys using 3D hologram technology. In like any other movie, that would have annoyed me. I would have been like, oh, the threats aren't real, it's just drones. But with this movie, the way they executed like the Tony Stark tech, and how it's being used on good guys and bad guys' side. Like, Tony's just changed the world,
right?
For better or for worse, with his tech. And when he reveals that none of the monsters are real and it's all just holograms, I was honestly like, oh, this is kind of interesting now.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a better direction, actually.
The Far From Home wanted to have something to say about fake news.
Yeah.
Basically.
Could you sense that at all? Like the slight political commentary?
It's
very slight.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to know, like, I feel like every time I say what's his end game, it's just like
Yeah.
but like I'm just
We just add a tis.
because as far seriously, because I'm trying to understand, like, since clearly he has no actual capabilities besides making up threats for himself that he can fight that are fake. So
Syndrome
there you go.
from Incredibles.
There you go. Well, at least that he clearly had some kind of capacity to fight. I mean, he had that 0-point energy thing.
Yeah,
that
he had
freezes-
legitimate technology.
He had legit technology that he could use. So I'm like, okay, I'm assuming that your only end game here, Mysterio, is to basically just be an inspiration to people
Yeah.
and be like, people need hope. But
You're right.
as soon as like the next 9/11 happens, what are you expected to do besides use the drone to, I assume, just
Right.
put the planes to death?
Shoot guns.
Shoot guns.
That's really all they could do, aside from project 3D looking,
Yeah.
scary stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I thought the motive behind what he wanted to do was a little weak. If
Yeah.
I had a critique of the movie, I would say that it was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just been done so much. The idea of
Maybe.
like, oh, I'm gonna be the hero, so I make the villains myself, and then I
Yeah.
save them, and everyone loves me. It's like, I don't know. It was a little.
It was weird. I want to understand how, like, at least with the last villain, Vulture, it was like, okay, so he's basically just illicitly planning for his retirement because he was wrong before. I like it. I can deal
High
with
school
that.
boy stops man's retirement
Yeah.
plan. That sums up Homecoming.
Or another way of summing up Homecoming, Spider-Man totally can beat Batman.
Yeah, right.
But Mysterio is just like, okay, weird. I still like that in the end he kind of gets the last laugh. Just by
Yes.
completely screwing things over for him.
Right.
But
Which the spoiler, by the way,
Yes.
for Far From Home at the very, very end is that
Yes.
Mysterio unveils to the world that apparently Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yes.
And that's like the very frame we end the movie on. Is like,
and they bring back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
and that pushes the movie up a full letter grade. For
Yeah.
me. I was sitting at like a C+ by the end of it.
Uh-huh.
And then
That
J. Jonah
happened.
Jameson, I was like B+. Instant B+ for me. That I love for these producers and these casting agents are just as big a fan as we are. When
Oh, yeah?
suddenly they're like, "Who should we get for J. Jonah Jameson?" And they're like, "J.K. Simmons."
Yeah.
Like the guy who already played him. Yes. You cannot replace that. So let's not even try it. Let's just get him back.
I bet they were just. I bet it was like maybe a 10-sentence conversation, like ring ring, you want in? Yes, cool, awesome.
I hope that's a returning character.
It has
It would
to
annoy
be.
the crap out of me if it was just
no
a cameo.
way. There's no way they
Ugh.
just made that a cameo. Like,
If they want me to love them, if they want me to watch the third movie, they will put J. Jonah Jameson in it as a regular character.
well, what I think is going to happen is that he's going to become a much more fundamental character within the Spider-Man movies. I mean, he's been like a focal point of so much of Spider-Man's
Yeah.
mythos and
Yeah.
history that I don't think it would be a horrible move not to have him around, at least for a couple scenes, to be like, yes, he is still an active force in this, and J. Jonah Jameson is the ultimate like fake news proprietor and stuff. I mean,
He's the new Alex Jones.
I
Daily Bugle.
I would say he's the new Don Lemon, but
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it still. I just love it.
The set looked just like
It looked
the
like it. It was
InfoWars
beautiful.
thing.
Like, oh,
Turn the freaking frogs game. Looked like he was about ready to go off on it, but
serious. I just love
But
how
how is this going to change the dynamic? Because when I think of J. Jonah Jameson, I think of the Raimi trilogy where Peter works for the Bugle.
that's a good point.
But now that the secret's out, that's how this movie ended. Is
That's a
that
good point.
Parker's Spider-Man? It makes me wonder, like, how they're gonna deal with that as a film. I mean, Iron Man didn't really have a secret identity.
no, but then again, he's a showboating kind of narcissist. So
Yeah.
if he did have a secret, like I remember actually, it's funny you say that. I remember I got bored one day and tried to watch like one of the really trashy animated features of the Avengers.
Oh yeah.
And they were
I've seen those.
Yeah. And Iron Man was like joining them, and they're like, all the other Avengers are talking smack about Tony Stark, and like, oh, he's just a showboat. Oh, he doesn't really have what it takes.
Right,
Oh,
right.
he's just this, that. And Iron Man just is like, It's like that one meme where like mask is on, tears behind it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you care?
Right. Tears behind the mask. Yeah. Right.
But no, like I'm really curious how they're gonna make that. They're gonna transition that if it is even gonna, if it is going beyond a cameo, which I'm sure it is. If like maybe Peter's like on the run, and he has to prove his innocence somehow, and like.
Yeah, because not only is his secret identity out there, he's also been accused of causing all of the London attacks.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah.
He's been framed by Mysterio, so it's like, ooh,
yeah.
where are they gonna go with this? But you had some theories in the theater about where the next villain is gonna go.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because I've been needing this for freaking so long. Well, like. Right now, my working theory is like maybe they'll try and do some kind of, not like, kind of like Suicide Squad. They'll find some criminals who it's like, okay, these guys are expendable. They have the best chance at stopping Spider-Man considering his abilities.
Like Tom Hardy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, they're gonna throw boomerangs and unicorns at him. I'm thinking because clearly Vulture's still somewhere on the board to be played with, and at the end. Like, they even have him, like, towards the beginning, like, somewhere in the middle when Spider-Man actually makes the FBI intervention thing go wrong between Vulture and that one dude, Gargan. Voss from Far Cry 3, by the way.
Right.
And it is Gargan, which makes me think, oh, God, they're going to bring the Scorpion in.
Right.
And that's, like...
Yeah.
That's huge.
Right.
And, I mean, because Scorpion's kind of terrifying. Because what happens when you put kind of a psychotic criminal in... a suit with a big stinger on its butt.
Yeah. Right.
It's
not good things.
Not a good things. And what's worse is that in the comics, they can't get him out of the suit. It's the only thing keeping him alive. And he wants out of the suit.
Yikes.
He kind of is mad about that.
Right.
So I'm guessing they're going to try and do like a Sinister Six kind of thing, maybe, with some of the different rogues that they can. I don't know who they're going to utilize, because I'm like, okay, so they can't use like... I'm pretty sure anything from the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is just off the board. Don't even try it.
Oh, I wanted them to get Paul Giamatti back.
Right? That was such a random...
His best performance in cinematic history.
Yeah, exactly. He got to run around in a fake mech rhino suit.
Paul Giamatti.
I love that the rhino suit just has miniguns on it.
Yeah.
Because they were like, okay, we have to... I feel like they could totally just go like with the comic suit and just have a guy dressed up in a gray muscle suit with a horn on his face and make that work somehow.
Yeah. It's Marvel. They could make that work and make it intimidating somehow.
Exactly. But I mean, I'm guessing Sinister Six kind of try and capture Spider-Man thing. I don't know how it's going to work with J. Jonah Jameson at this point, because I'm like, I need J.K. Simmons like a drug addict needs heroin. I need it so bad, directly in my veins.
Well, I would rather watch a J.K. Simmons rebirth of J. Jonah Jameson than I would another Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Seriously.
As in, like, I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, but I found the last two Marvel Spider-Man films enjoyable. They were entertaining, even though that's not my favorite character. If he's coming back, you have me in the theater, like guaranteed.
Oh yeah,
I will be sitting there. If not, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. I don't know. I'm not that into it. How did you feel about the role of MJ in this one?
I don't like her. It has nothing to do with any superficial things.
No.
I don't like how they done this with the like. Okay, it's not really MJ because it's what's her name, Michelle.
Yeah, they gotta cheat.
That's a cop out. All right.
Yeah,
that's a huge cop out. Go all in.
I kind of get why they did it because of Amazing Spider-Man being so recent when they brought Tom Holland into the MCU.
Yeah.
It was like they were trying to remind you that this is a different Spider-Man as much as possible, and they're trying to do a lot of things differently. But yeah, I agree. It's very obvious.
I just don't understand where like the love interest part of it comes in all of a sudden.
Yeah, if you watched Homecoming, it really wasn't there. That was kind of the bizarre
If
thing.
anything, it seemed like it was more like towards the end. It seemed hinted like it was more one-sided with MJ looking at him.
Yeah,
and I was like, I would have been down with that. That's cool.
Right.
All right.
But she was like comic relief.
She was,
and like slightly,
which I'm kind of
annoying.
I'm kind of okay with that, just because I'm like, okay, we've seen I get it. MJ and Peter's a thing, but no, I don't hate I'm not like big on the actress's job necessarily, and I don't think that's because of her. I think it's just because I don't like what they've done with this character.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, whatever.
It feels a little distorted. I felt like moving from Homecoming to Far From Home, she suddenly turned into more like heartfelt and like, oh Peter, like,
yeah.
and I was like, that wasn't how she acted before. She always acted better than everyone, and now all of a sudden she gets all friendly and lovey-dovey with Peter, and I'm like, that, I mean, because you threw out the first love interest he had in the last movie, Vulture's daughter, they were just like, oh, I'm moving away, and he's like, oh, okay, bye. Suddenly MJ was like, oh,
which I guess
I'll move in.
Which honestly, if we're talking about this being a movie about teenagers, that makes more sense than
probably.
That's the most realistic thing I think this movie's ever done is portray teenagers being stupid.
Like the Edith protocol. He gets these
that's hilarious.
From Tony Stark.
Even
and he's
dead,
like,
I'm the hero.
Yeah, what was the kid's name that he put a target on?
Brad.
Brad's the target. So then all of a sudden a drone ship comes flying down and it's gonna blow up this kid on his school bus. It's like, that'd be kind of hilarious if it did actually.
Oh god.
He calls it off luckily, but yeah.
I don't know why I get so much enjoyment out of it, but I like the fact that not the black teacher, but the white teacher. I feel like he hasn't changed his character since 1999 when he was in Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, he plays that role well.
He plays that role really well.
So
it's
they
hilarious.
stick to it.
They kept with it. I'm like it. It's
very
funny.
classic, optimistic teachers that
are way in over their head and have no idea what they're doing.
Right. They got that part of the school trip well, as well as the kids wanting to sit with each other on the flight and things like that. I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
There were some lines that I felt like didn't flow well. There were a few lines with the teenagers. Like sometimes the Ned character feels a little too, I don't know, scripted.
Yeah.
To me, like it feels a little like, would someone really say that though? Or like, it's funny that he's saying that, or Ned's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And they look at each other all the time. I'm like, it just made me think.
Miss you more.
Yeah. I'm quirky.
Yeah.
So that's what it reminded me of. Sorry, Siri needs to shut up.
Yeah.
That's Edith, actually.
That's Edith.
Which, by the way, best acronym ever. The glasses stands for...
Even dead, I'm the hero.
Even dead, I'm the hero.
Yeah. Tony Stark was really just... He's probably got about 50 years worth of self-felicitating comments about himself.
I wonder if the next Spider-Man film will actually get a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie with little Tony Stark involvement. Or are they still going to piggyback off of Stark Tech and Stark this and that?
I bet you Tony Stark's the kind of guy who like shot about 50 years worth of videos just for his daughter.
Right.
So we're probably going to have her come in at some point in the future.
I think you're right. I was going to bring that up. They definitely pocketed the young Stark idea.
Yeah.
So she's, once a few years go by, she can get older.
Maybe they can do Ironheart right, because that's a thing right now, and that's apparently terrible.
Oh,
because
apparently terrible.
Oh God.
So when she's like, hopefully not too young, when they find an actress that's in the teenage years, then they can start having an Iron Man type or Iron Woman now type character that flies around and shoots lasers. But yeah, I hope. Spider-Man's able to mature in that time and kind of become more of like the old hero who's been doing this for a while and has experience with everything.
He does. I think that he will, and because he has in the comics, obviously. I mean,
he still feels very juvenile in this movie.
Oh yeah,
he still feels very unsure, and he's still trying to get comfortable with being
trying to figure out the flow of things.
Right. And once he gets out of high school, I think it'll fix a lot.
He needs to bone up on his music history though.
Yes.
Back in Black comes in and comes on. Oh, I love Led Zeppelin. God.
Everyone in the theater just went, oh.
A little piece of everyone just died.
That was a British Tom Holland line.
I know.
Not a Peter Parker line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that he made his own suit.
Yeah,
that was
really
customizing
cool.
it and everything. That was neat. I like those scenes. I like the using Mysterio using the visuals to scare him, and that scene with the Iron Man corpse.
I loved it so much.
Just crawling out of the grave. I was like, oh my god,
it was
trippy. It was quite trippy to watch. Why am I yawning
so much? God.
We're filming this very early in the morning.
It's not early for me.
Okay, well for me it's early enough, but still, Far From Home was enjoyable. I thought some of the personal characters might have been written a little weak, but I think they probably handled it in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's you can tell it's definitely some kind of moving. I don't think it's an epilogue to the MCU at all. I think it's definitely them trying to move forward and get everything figured out.
This is the transition period right now.
Yeah, because Marvel's just like, guys, movies make more money than comics.
Yeah. They're trying to stay afloat here. They're trying to be like, no, we can keep going. We can keep going. And I think Far From Home was good evidence of that.
Yeah.
If Captain Marvel would have come out after Endgame, would have been a completely different discussion. We would have been like, oh no, they can't do this.
Unfortunately, they brought the Skrulls back in, which
they really didn't need.
They didn't need to.
It was so unnecessary.
I don't understand why they did. I'm hoping they bring something up to be like, okay, why is Fury actually in space?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, there's the end credit scene, the post credits, kind of, the mid credits scene.
No, this is the end credits scene.
Yeah, but there's the mid credits with J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes.
We loved that. And then Mysterio reveals Spider-Man's Peter Parker. Oh no more secret identity. And then the credits play, and then at the end of the credits, we find out that the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that works directly with Nick Fury, both of them were Skrulls the whole movie.
Yeah. For some reason.
Which generates plot holes, I think.
I don't...
Because there's a scene in the movie where Happy gives a coded message to Nick Fury about, these things aren't real, and be advised, like, we're being tricked via holograms. And he says something like, your surfboard is in the basement, and he's like, don't be in my basement, and that's like the coded language. So I'm like, so the Skrulls have to know like every single piece of Nick Fury knowledge and the coded messages?
Seriously.
And they know that Spider-Man's been to space, which means like, how long has the Skrulls been playing Nick Fury? Are we meant to believe like this has been going on for years, or is this just this movie? Or it opens up a whole...
Thanks, Captain Marvel. You're like Chekhov radiation, tainting everything you touch. God,
Captain Marvel is actually...
I want to just get this out right now.
Okay, go ahead.
I do not want to have to make another Captain Marvel video.
No.
Or anything regarding it.
No,
I want it out of my head.
Yeah.
I don't think about it on a daily basis anymore.
No,
I feel clean having made that one video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make another.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh God, yeah. No, it was... I'm depressed that they are probably making another Captain Marvel movie.
They probably are.
And I don't want them to, but...
I'll pirate it.
Yeah.
I'll go on record right now. If there's another Captain Marvel movie, I'm not paying to see it. No. I'm going to steal it.
I bet the box office won't be good after the audience responses for the...
Yeah, it probably won't.
It'll... I'm not saying it'll flop. I'm just saying it probably won't make as much as the first one did.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be like, I don't know. Unless they tie some other character in with it. If like Hulk's with her the whole time, maybe more people would watch it. I don't know. But yeah,
God,
where does Hulk go now?
I hope they don't bring her into the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh no. James Gunn wouldn't do that.
No, James Gunn's like, no, I love my audience.
Yeah, he loves his characters. But in conclusion,
yes,
I would say it was a good step for the MCU.
Yes,
and definitely one of the better ones. Mm-hmm. In a few more years, we'll have to re-rank all our movies again. But
oh God, that's right, we will.
It's gonna take too long to do that today. I think that it shows us the MCU is still in good care, and it's still heading in good directions. And thought Mysterio, like most Marvel villains, was a little weak, but not the worst.
You could at least see how he had some motivation here and there, but he was all right.
It was not Thor 2 forgettable.
Yes.
But still
he
not...
wasn't Malekith.
Still no Thanos, which it'll probably never... There might never be a Marvel villain that
God,
good.
I want to know what they're going to follow up with next. Jeez.
Yeah. Would you say Far From Home was better than Homecoming? Or worse?
I'd say they were comparable with each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is probably
Because
one of the few Spider-Man 2 films that I would almost tie with the first movie. I know there's 3 in the 21st century, so we have to be specific.
Oh God.
But yeah, Homecoming and Far From Home felt very on par to
Yeah.
me, very neck and neck. So yeah, if you liked Homecoming, you'd most likely enjoy Far From Home.
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds about right.
Cool. All right. Well,
All
we'll
right.
sum it up there. Let us know what you thought
Heck
by
yeah.
hitting us up on Twitter or joining the Discord because we don't read the comments. And we will catch you all later. Bye-bye.
Adios.